Man, I gotta say, I'm kind of gutted. So, there's two main decks I want to make with Outsiders. One is a dagger throwing deck, and the other is a defensive trap Riptide deck. And I got to set up to make a dagger deck, and then it occurred to me the dagger combo cards can be ninja or assassin. So the first question is, who do you want to play it with? Do you want to play it with Uzi, Arachne, or Benji or Katsu? And there is no good option, to put it simply. There is absolutely no good option. This setup doesn't work except in an additional sense. So it can't be the main feature of your deck, especially in, say, Blitz, because obviously you don't have enough cards to split it. So what do I mean by? Well, for one, it really would work well with Benji's passive hero ability. So your attack action cards with 2 or less can't be defended by cards from your hand. That's great. That's what you want. You want your fake or fox foe, right? Foe. That word always trips me up. You want your dagger cards to hit, so they trigger the dagger effect. But then on the plus side, Benji's only 2 daggers suck. So yeah, so for Ninja there is only 2 daggers, and obviously you can only have 2 copies of a card in Blitz. So you have no way to stock up on more daggers to make this work. Like, it is impossible to play Flick Knives, for lack of a better term for the deck style, with Ninja, because you have no ways to restock daggers, at least from my perspective, because, where is it? Concealed Blade, I think it is? Yeah, whenever this hits, equip a dagger from your inventory. So by inventory, I would assume that means the supplementary card pile that you have to transition out equipment, which of course you can't stock up with just, an endless amount of harmonized Kadachis because of the card limit. So I don't know if they fix that. I might have to do some reading on my own. And then on the opposite side of things, if we were to try and make the deck with, we'll start off with Arachne. Okay, so Arachne's the initial version of him. You want to play cards with contract. None of these cards have contracts. Your daggers do not have contracts, so it makes your hero ability obsolete. And from my vantage point, if you're playing a hero with no hero ability, then it's pointless, because that's the whole core principle of any deck, is playing off of your hero ability. It's the one ability you get for free, and you want to make the most out of it. So then we can look at Uzuri, or even the different Arachne. The first attack with stealth each turn has go again. None of the dagger cards are stealth, so Solitary Confinement's out. I mean, you can combo into it, I suppose, but then that sort of... It is just this icing on the cake style, rather than being the main element of a deck. And when it comes to Blitz and the limited amount of cards, I don't think that's feasible. 2, Uzuri. Banish a card from your hand face down, turn the card banished this way face up. If it's an attack action card with cost 2 or less, great. The majority of the dagger centered cards are 2 or less. Put target attacking card with stealth from your active chain link on the bottom of its owner's deck, then put the banished card into the active chain link. So at least with Uzuri, you can combo it somewhat. So you'd play a card with stealth, and you'd swap out to a dagger. And the reason why I sort of sound disappointed with that is obviously there are no real great advantages to swapping out to a dagger card. There's a lot more hard-hitting assassin cards that you'd probably want to change into if you're getting essentially a free strike. So it makes it really difficult for me to see any of these combo pieces being viable, when at best you can only use Uzuri. Okay, Ninja's completely out. There's just not enough daggers for you to use. None of these daggers are the Ninja can utilize. There is... I feel like this is wrong, to be honest, with the FaB Armory. Is there a way I can look at just weapons in total? Where's one-handed? There's the piercing needles, right? Is limiting it to assassin. What are they called? I mean, they're used by Ninja. I'm pretty sure they were in the starter deck, weren't they? Let me make a new deck and check. Actually, let's look at Benji again. Why are they not here? If we go to one-handed weapons, are they daggers? Please be daggers. They are daggers, but again, this still limits you to four daggers overall. When obviously with any of the assassin classes, the reason they have now added in the plethora of daggers is because then you can have 2 Spider Bite, 2 Nerve Scalpel, 2... I'm not even going to try. And 2 Scale Peelers. So right there you can have, what is that, 2, 4, 6, 8 daggers. And I don't know if the reverse cards count as different cards. I know pitch value is the difference. I don't know if art is different. I doubt it, but still, 8 daggers compared to 4 daggers with Benji. Because 4 daggers is not a lot when every time you throw a dagger, it gets destroyed. Yeah? So 4 attacks or 4 uses of any of the dagger cards, and you're done. Because if you don't have a dagger, you can't use them, which means once per turn reaction is out, you'd burn through it way too quickly. Any of the hurl, right? Yeah, so there's no point running multiple copies of hurl. And then there's nothing else, right? Yeah. So I guess the only upside is you get rid of the throwing aspect, and you just play around striking over and over again. Which is still... I don't know how I feel about it. I feel like it's slightly short. Because here's my headcanon, if you will. If you re-equip a dagger, it is now a new item, and therefore it has a use. So in one turn, you could theoretically strike with all 4 daggers. If you were to get rid of them, re-equip them, and then go again. That's my understanding at least. And there's just not enough daggers to combo Benji over the long run, because again, both Assassin and Ninja are tempo and slower decks. They deal death by 1,000 cuts, so to speak, rather than heavy hitting like Guardian or anything like that. So you really want to keep your weapons. If you break them all, it's no use, and that's a big deal. Because, for instance, Flick Knives, if you just depend on this, 4 turns, and you're done. Obviously, it's if damage is dealt this way, the dagger has hit, destroy the dagger. Well, actually, there's a full stop there. So there's no if statement, right? So it's destroy the dagger. You use Flick Knife, you destroy the dagger. So you get 4 uses out of this, and then 1 block. You get 5 uses out of it, as opposed to the other ninja gauntlets that are really good. If I can find them, let's filter. Where's ninja? Can I filter by ninja? Yeah, I can. And it's going back to weapons. Why have you gone back to weapons? I want equipment. Okay, where are they? Is it these ones? Next Crouching Tiger? No. Ah, right, yeah. So the second attack action card with 2 or less. Play each turn, gets +1. Damage dealt cannot be prevented. So that is significantly better because it's completely ongoing. Not only that, it has a better defensive value than Flick Knives. So I don't know how this slots in. It can only really slot in with Assassin at the current stage, unless they add, more daggers. I wish some of these were more universal. That would have been better. I don't know why they're not there. Their abilities are pretty, well guarded against the fact they cost 2 as opposed to normal daggers that cost 1. I guess I will try to make Uzuri. But yeah, I'm really disappointed. I was so excited because, it'd be a great combo set when you're comboing around dagger attacks rather than actual ninja cards. It would be really good because they also have a lot of reaction or buff cards, so you can really stack up the thing. But I guess the only functional sense of this combo piece of flicking knives, again, lack of a definition or defining word for the archetype, would be to use Uzuri, and then you attack with stealth, you vanish it, and you swap into one of your knife throws, which again is still sacrificing damage, which is a bit iffy because again I don't value these highly. So the only thing you're really trying to do is get off a lot of swings, in which case you'd want to hit. These have go again, hopefully. Yeah, they do good. So you'd want to hit, throw a dagger. You'd want to hit stealth, throw a dagger, and then activate one of these extra cards. Where are they? Like Bleed Out, where X is total damage. You've dealt with daggers combat chain, so if you hit twice, it costs 0, which is great. That's what you want. Anything to buff your daggers. I doubt any of these buff mechanics actually... Yeah, they don't. If damage is dealt this way, the dagger is hit. Yeah, so they only trigger the hit effect. They don't actually gain any of the damage effects. When this hits, they lose X, whereas X is the number of times a dagger has hit this combat chain. Then you can't get this super high. And this was the big thing I really wanted to do, was just have a turn where you spam 3 or 4 daggers, and then use an ability like this that makes it high priority that they now have to block and defend against. I don't know. I will play around with it, but it is definitely not as powerful as what I had initially thought out, sadly. There's still something to it, and it'll still probably work in the... Maybe Ninja's still the get-go with only 4 daggers. I don't know. I think just having the extra resources, because again, you want to make Flick Knives work, and the only way to make Flick Knives work is to be able to spam it. Play it every turn off of every attack. And again, 4 turns, you're out of a weapon. So it's not going to go good. I mean, you could use it as a combo setup, but you can't get anything high enough, like I was saying, to make these worthwhile. Bleed Out, you want to attack twice. Stab Wound, you want to attack as much as possible. Concealed Knives, decent. Hurl, there'd be no point to playing Hurl if you're just using Flick Knives outside of the base damage rights. I mean, you still have to pay the extra, which is really, really not good in tempo decks. Plunge, the next... when this hits, your next dagger attack gains 1, so you don't want to throw. I don't know. There's something here. I guess I'll stick them all together and then see what meshes. But yeah, I'm probably, I guess, moving to Uzuri. And I just have to figure out which stealth attacks you want to use. Be good if there was some more cards in here that played off your deck as well. Even if it was just, give your... Like a concealed weapon. Is there... To give your weapon stealth? I don't think there is. I'm also disappointed that stealth is nothing. I mean, it could be as simple as if this is your first attack, it can't be defended. That would have been fine too, no? Anyway, just wanted to put that out there. Flick Knives, sadly not as good as what I was thinking, due only to the limited card pool for each. And obviously the passive effects. Again, Ninja plays into it really well. Uzuri, okay. You could do a lot better things, I think, with his hero ability. Arachne, not at all. You want to play Stealth with this one, with Solitary Confinement, and you want to play Contract with normal Arachne, unfortunately. I really want to play Benji, because I have him in Cold Foil, one of the initial promos. Oh well.